Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to today's installment of Mike's Vehicle Vlogs. Thanks for joining me today. So today is the day where we have the 2016 Ford Fusion SE back in our possession, my brother's car. 102,000 miles, 102,605 to be exact. And today we're going to do some, minor to major services on the car. So there's going to be quite a bit here in the video. We are going to do spark plugs since this car is over 100,000 now. Ford does recommend spark plugs be replaced at 100K. So we're going to do that. We are also going to do the engine coolant. So we're just going to do a drain and fill on the coolant system. Again, Honda. The Honda tech in me is coming out. Ford recommends coolant at 100,000 also. So we are going to do that today. We're also going to do the transmission fluid, which has never been done on this car. Now Ford says that fluid can go up to 150,000 miles. It is the Mercon LV, but based on experience from what I've had, not only just working at Ford for a short time, but having my own Fusion and an earlier Escape model, a 2011 Escape, both of which, you know, still took Mercon LV. I've been told it's a fluid that breaks down pretty quickly, and it should definitely be changed before the recommended amount, you know. So with my Escape, I think I changed it somewhere around 70,000 miles, and with the Fusion that I had, similar to this one, it was probably around the same. No, what was I at? I don't even remember. I can't remember anything anymore. But either way, so this one, you know, at 102,000, yeah, we're gonna change it. So we got that. And then also, we do have a broken stabilizer link on the driver's front strut, you know. So we're gonna attempt to replace both of those today here at the house. Not 100% sure if that's going to be successful or not, because here, you know, in Northeast Ohio, things rust, and chances are those bolts that hold those stabilizer links on are probably going to be seized pretty well. But we're going to try. I even went as far as to buy a little propane torch to maybe see if that'll help. So for the first time, we're really going to try to use a heat source here at the house. So we'll see how far we get with that. Obviously the one on this side's completely broken off, so we'll try to get that one loose first, you know, and hopefully it'll be a success. That'll be a good trial run, and then if it doesn't work out, then we'll just save it for another day. It might have to be something that I take to work and actually have to use like the acetylene torch on, maybe. But yeah, so that's where we stand with that. So there's quite a bit going on in this video. Hopefully the battery will last through it all. So we're going to start with the spark plugs, since, you know, I brought the car over here. It's been sitting for almost an hour, so the engine should be cool enough. It's probably still warm, but it should be cool enough now to, you know, get the plugs out, and we'll do that. Okay, so this Fusion is equipped with the 2.5 liter Duratec 4-cylinder. It is not a turbocharged engine. It is just the basic naturally aspirated one. This engine is legendary. These engines are pretty much problem-free. Same engine that my Fusion had. My Escape even had this engine, and never had any issues with it. So the spark plugs obviously are all on the top there. One thing I did forget to do is get an air wand, or a can of compressed air. So I might have to maybe walk down to the dollar store and maybe buy a can, because there's stuff in there we do not want to get into the spark plug or the combustion chambers there. It looks like these are either 7 or 8s to get the coils off, and I know the spark plugs are 5/8 with your spark plug socket. Very humid out here. Alright, so we'll go ahead and unplug these. These are kind of no-brainers. The longest one's going to go to cylinder 1, and then this one here will go to 2. This one here will go to 3. And the one on the end will go to 4. I did forget to bring my little impact home from work for these coil bolts here. But you don't really want to use the impact for the spark plugs themselves. I know a lot of people do. Makes me nervous. Honestly, sometimes even doing it by hand makes me nervous too, because you know, conditions I guess have to be just right. Engine can't be too hot, engine can't be too cold. You kind of got to meet it in the middle. But if you're doing it by hand, you know, usually you don't have a problem with the threads or the head getting messed up. That one's still tight, but with the impact, I think you just make your chances a little greater. There we go. Come on. Jeez. I forgot to put my gloves on. Oh well. So real quick while I'm doing this, weather report, because I always do weather reports. It's probably mid to upper 70s right now. It's around 10 in the morning at the moment. I do have a nice overcast sky, so I'm not getting burned at the moment. So that's good. Come on. Oh. Alright. So these I'm going to keep in order, or try to. So 2. 3. Yeah, there was still some stuff kind of hidden, so we gotta be careful. Come on, come on. 4. Alright. And those are all dry, so that looks good. Which means the tube seals aren't leaking oil, so that's good. This probably should be a tripod video, but she's coming. I think ever since I had my Aztec and that one plug broke off on me, I just always kind of get nervous about doing spark plugs. Almost there. There we go. Oh, sort of. There it is. I don't think it looks too bad. Alright, so there's that. Still pretty warm. next one here. That one's in there pretty tight still, it feels like. We might have to maybe let this cool off a little longer. How's this one feel? This one's going okay. Yeah, maybe we'll come back to that one there. This one, number 3, pretty much looks like number 1. See how number 4 feels. That one's really tight. Yeah, those two are still pretty tight. So just to be safe, I think we'll let it cool down just a little more. And then we will, yeah, see, the engine's not that hot now because I can keep my hand on the valve cover. Alright, so we got 2 and 4 out. And once again, these all look like they're burning pretty evenly. So nothing out of the ordinary from what I can see. They all look the same, which is good. So, not bad for 100K. Now the plugs that we're putting back in are of course OEM. So this is the part number here, the SP530s. And this is obviously a pack of 4. So we're going to put pretty much the same plugs that came back out. I mean, these have a different part number because these are the original Fomoco plugs from the factory. But they should match the number that's on here. So if we look at this, this is AYFS32YR, AYFS32YR. So yeah, they're the exact same plugs. They are iridium style plugs. So all we have to do now is open those up, check our gap on all of them, and for that we have our gap tool. Oops, had it in my pocket here. Yeah, the gap tool. So I'm going to check the gap on all of them, make sure they are all the same. Once these cool off, maybe I'll check the gap on those and see where they were, see if they were still within spec. The spec for these, I printed service data and left it here in the car just for like torque specs and stuff, but I wrote down the spec from the owner's manual because this sheet didn't tell me. But we want to be between this here in inches. So right about here on the tool. So I did check the gap on all of these, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they are all wider than the spec there from factory. So they were all roughly around 55 thousandths of an inch. So they were all just slightly over, which not that big a deal. That's something that probably happened over time, over, you know, the 100,000 miles. But it's good to see that they weren't too far off, nothing crazy. Here's our brand new plug. These also say Fomoco on them, so that's cool. nice and clean. So all I have to do is check the gap on them, and then we can carefully start threading them in to the block. So this one out of the box, you can see it's kind of hard to do with one hand, but it is pretty much at the upper end of that spec that we have in the car, so pretty much right on the money. Now I'm not using anti-seize on these, and there's a reason why, is because the service data didn't specify the use of the anti-seize. One thing that I was taught, I should say, about anti-seize on spark plugs is some engines aren't supposed to have it, because I guess in some way, shape, or form it could actually interfere with the spark. So the service data didn't say to put anti-seize on, so we're not going to. So we're going to carefully try to get it threaded in here. Feels pretty easy, so that's good. We'll kind of hit these up all at the same time. So let me get the next one, put it in by hand, and then we'll snug it up. Now there is a torque spec for these. It's 106 inch-pounds, and I do have an inch-pound ratchet. My problem is I don't have the right size socket for said ratchet. So we can try to use the bigger torque wrench, which I don't know if I want to do, but if you translate it from 106 foot-pounds or inch-pounds, it translates roughly to about 9 foot-pounds. So if we use the bigger torque wrench very carefully and slowly, we can probably achieve that mark. But my inch-pound torque wrench, which we will probably be using later for like the transmission plugs and stuff, it's a 1/4 inch drive, and obviously these sockets are 3/8 drive, so I don't have anything to reduce it here, unfortunately. So we'll just use the 3/8 torque wrench and just very carefully, you know, but for the most part 9 foot-pounds is probably something very easily achievable on a hand ratchet. So even if we use the hand ratchet and just, you know, give it some light snugs, it'll probably be at that reading. Okay, so we have all of the plugs tightened by hand with the ratchet. You know, not a whole lot of force, so once we were kind of using the ratchet, these all came to a light stop. So you can see they're all, you know, they don't want to move. So let's go ahead and get that torque wrench and just carefully see if we can achieve the 9 foot-pounds. Okay, 9 foot-pounds. Oh. Okay, so one's there. Two's there. Three's there. And 4 is there. Alright, so I had some left. I just took them all and just put like a glob of them across the top there, so when they go in, they will meet with the plug. That one, that's why it was hard coming out. That one's a bit corroded there, which is weird because the other ones aren't. So push it down in there. And then, like I said, this one, and I tried to clean these off a little more too before they go back into the holes. So push that one down in there. This one here. And then number 1. Okay, Now we'll just go ahead and tighten them up. Don't know what the torque spec is on those, but those aren't very big. So once again, just kind of lightly snug them down. They don't have to be super tight. So that's about good there. That's snug there. Okay, that's snug there. Okay, and that's snug there. So now let's go ahead and plug these coils back in. And that's all there is to it, so let's go ahead and start it up and hope it runs. All tells in here just in case. Actually, the all tells out here for coolant temp readings when we do the other fluids. Runs like a top. Feels smooth. Sounds good. Alright, so spark plugs, check. So next on the list would be the transmission fluid and the engine coolant draining. I have to go in the house, get the ramps. Like I said, we're gonna have to move over there for more level ground. Then we have to crawl under, take that shield off, which is gonna suck because once again, let me reiterate, I left my impact at work, so we're gonna have to take all of those bolts out by hand, which I'm not looking forward to. And then we can do the draining and filling procedures. Yeah, this thing here is probably the worst part of, well, honestly, any modern Ford when you're working at home. So there's a bunch of 10mm bolts. If yours are all there, you should have 5 across, 2 kind of in the middle. Did I zoom in? No, sorry. So 2 kind of in the middle, and then either 2 or 4 in the way back before that aluminum piece there. You guys don't need to watch this. This part's gonna be boring and pretty strenuous. Just kidding. I do wish I had my impact though. Okay, so now that that's done, we have to get this piece off of here too, because I do believe the radiator drain is under this. So I think those may also be 10s. There might be some smaller ones here too. I threw my ratchet somewhere, I don't know where it went. So yeah, is this one? It is. Oh, that's gonna suck. Well, let's see what happens. So hold on, can I use the camera? Because I can't really. Oh yeah, the radiator's definitely under this thing. Yeah. Alright, so Yeah, it's got to come off. Alright, so let's see how well this works. Oh, okay. That one's not too bad. Okay, we got all of those out along the front here. So, and now there's a smaller bolt over here that I can't see unless I use the camera, because so I don't know if it's a 7 or an 8. Hold on, this is not good. Not a good angle. Okay, let's see. Feels like 7. But I lied. There's actually 3 of these in front of the wheel, it looks like. So I got 2 of them out. Should be one more here that I can't see from this angle. There it is. Come on. Alright, now there's probably 3 more on the other side. And then I think we have to undo these, which these are also 7s. So all the ones here along the actual bumper fascia. And then there's supposed to be a couple of push pins here, but those are gone already. I think the other 2 are at the other end. They look like they're hanging, so those are pretty much useless down there. And then this whole thing here should come off. Okay, so that's going to be fun putting back in. This is what we see underneath that. Not really what I was hoping. There's still more things like alright, so yeah, so the radiator's back here. So I'm not sure what side this drain plug is supposed to be on. The fans are still in the way. Oh, it's right there. Hold on. You can't see, it's... There it is. Ugh. Boy, I hope that comes loose. Alright. So now we have to get the car off the ramps. And then we're going to revert to the floor jack to do the draining. And the transmission plug's right here, by the way. Alright. So we're going to do the transmission fluid first because it's probably, for one, going to drain out faster. And for two, it's going to be less mess because I have a feeling this coolant's going to be all over the place. Ooh, that's still too big. What's this one? 7/16. There it is. Yeah, that fits perfect. So 7/16. Just had a flashback to the Escape that I had. I should have remembered that it wasn't metric, it was standard size. Alright, so we're probably going to need 2 hands to do this. These plugs make me nervous. And like I said, we'll move the jack and we'll lower this down. Ooh, that dark. And then that way, you know, we'll get most of it out of there. And we'll also measure it in an empty container to see, you know, pretty much what came out. Now I bought 5 quarts because I think usually a drain and fill on this is about 5 quarts. So we'll measure what comes out. We'll try to put in what came out, but we'll probably still end up doing the check procedure anyway, just to make sure. Alright, so let me go ahead and get out of the way, and we'll lower this down and let all that run out to a drizzle. Okay, there we go. So now we're on the ground. Yeah, that's pretty dark. Oh, we're getting to the end of it. There we go. Sorta, kinda. You know, the nice thing is we may not have to actually use the jack. I didn't realize that there would be this much clearance. This car is actually decently high, I guess, for this pan to fit under. So this thing is pretty much all drizzle now. So let's go ahead and try to thread this back in. This is probably going to be the messy part. Try to push that. All right, there we go. All right. Not too bad. Alright, so we got it here with the, we just kind of snugged it up with the ratchet. It's pretty tight. There's a torque spec for this. It's 106 inch-pounds. I tried using my my new inch-pounds torque wrench, and it wasn't clicking yet, and it started to feel, you know, pretty tight. So I'm just gonna try it like this. We'll spray it off, and obviously, you know, this panel is going to be off for a while, so we'll be able to see if there's anything leaking. But it's pretty tight in there. You can't take it out with your fingers, so I think it's going to be okay. But 106 inch-pounds, yeah, I don't know. It was feeling kind of sketchy with that torque wrench. I'd never used that one before. I just bought it like a year ago and finally opened it up. And that bolt's not pretty big, so yeah, so we'll just keep an eye on that, and go from there. Let's do the coolant now. Oh yeah, nice and dark. Alright, so it looks like we got about 4 quarts out of it, just a hair under 4, really. So we could probably start off by dumping 4 out of those 5 quarts in there, and then, you know, we'll let it run, get the temperature, go through the gears, all that stuff, and then check the side plug. And we could leave the side plug open and just kind of carefully maybe dump in some of the 5th quart and wait for that side plug to start kind of drizzling out, and then we'll know it's full. But let's go ahead and drain the coolant now. Alright, so before we drain that, we do have to let pressure out of the system. So this has been off for a while. I purposely didn't want to run it. So let's try to carefully bleed off whatever's left here. There wasn't really anything in there. Okay. So set that there. And I went to the basement and kind of got some pliers, because I have a feeling this is not gonna want to open. So I put the car back on the jack to kind of get under here a little bit better. So this may take a moment to get that drain plug on the radiator loose. Alright, so I think we're on it, so I'm just gonna try to, I can't see, that's the problem. Dang. Alright, so we got it. That thing was tight. And yeah, as to be expected, it's gonna probably run everywhere. So I might try to see if I can open that up anymore, but this is probably gonna be a kind of a slow process. And like I said, I gotta let the car down too. So Yeah. Okay, so while that coolant is still draining, I guess we can go ahead and come up top here and let's go ahead and fill the transmission. So the way you fill the transmission on these is there's a looks like a vent cap right there somewhere, right there. So we have to take that vent cap off and just put the funnel in through there. If memory serves me right, we could probably remove this diffuser. So these are 7s here on the top for this. I think this is what I did when I had mine still. No sun today, guys, but it is muggy. Coolant tank's empty. We're making progress. Okay, so we got those out, and now we need to switch to an 8. I think this is the 8. Yeah. Oh, don't lose that. And I forget what else this is connected to. It goes into the air box, but I thought there was a way. I thought it just came right up. Kind of does. I mean, we could probably try to get down in there without it. Those lines are in the way anyway. But I thought I took mine off when I did mine. Is there another screw I'm missing? No. Alright, let's just try to get up under here. It's like that line's in the way anyway. Alright, there it is. Well, it's got fluid all over it. It was probably it's all the stuff from the, like, you know, coming out the vent. So we'll have to spray that off. And then I think this thing came off too. No, that stays on. It's a rubber piece. Focus. Oh, too far. But yeah, right there. So that's where our funnel's gonna go. So let's go down and get our funnel and go ahead and dump that in. It looks like this is still draining. She's gurgling. Still draining. Alright, so we got our funnel in. My funnel isn't skinny enough, but I was able to get the very end of it into the little rubber thing on the top. We're gonna have to pour this in very slow because it'll probably come out down the side there and such. So it is but it looks like it made it into the rubber piece. We're just gonna be careful. So like I said, we're just gonna start off with the 4 quarts that came out and go from there. We do have number 5 in case we need it. This is the satisfying part right here. Taking a look at the new fluid. Oh, so clean. Oh, how nice. Compare that to what we poured out or drained out of here. Alright, so this process is going to be a while because I don't want it to overfill or spill out. So I will go ahead and pour these 4 quarts in And then from there we'll just wait for the coolant to finish draining. Alright, so we got our 4 quarts in. I might just leave that cap off. I did try to spray it a little bit, but the gunk is still kind of on there. But either way. So, yeah, we got 4 quarts of the transmission fluid in there. I'm going to leave this funnel in here just in case we have to add any more, instead of trying to fight with it. So we'll let it sit there. I don't hear the coolant dripping anymore, so I'm going to take a look here and see if it's all drained out. The bowl looks pretty dark, so it probably is done. So I'll get under there and close it up. Gonna probably need the pliers to close it too, because that plug was tight. Alright, so we pretty much got the car at level ground with the tire off. So this is where the check plug is, if I can even get to that. But that's it right there. Looks like it's a like a hex head. There's the broken stab link that we may also try to do. But first, let's go ahead and get our coolant in now that we have the car on the ground. Time for a new glove. So, what we have here is the Ford OEM coolant. Now this is the yellow stuff. The stuff that was in this car was orange, but Ford quit. They quit making the orange in like 2019 or 2020, somewhere around there. So everything with orange kind of gets converted to yellow, which is supposed to be healthy for everything, regardless of the color that it is. So we got this. It's a concentrated bottle, so we went to the store and bought the distilled water. Problem that I have is I don't have another clean container to mix these, so we're gonna have to let the car do it. So I'm going to pour about a half gallon of each, and then once I get to the half mark, then I can combine them into 1 gallon. Maybe I'll do it in thirds. So this is about a third of that. Do about a third of the coolant now. Let me find some hoses to squeeze here somewhere. Try to maybe pump it through a little bit. Okay, so that emptied out there. Alright, so we poured in about a third of the coolant. Didn't fill up the reservoir yet, so squeeze the hose. Pour a little more water in. Bring this to the halfway point of the jug. Okay. So we're at the halfway point with the distilled water. I see stuff still in the bottle, so I think we're getting somewhere. Let's pour in the coolant now. Get it to its halfway mark. Okay, and then that should be our 50-50 at this point. So now it looks like the coolant is around the max mark. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and combine the jugs outside. That way everything will be in there, and then we can use it to start like topping off and stuff when we get to that point. Alright, so at this point, everything's mixed into the coolant jug. So let me put the camera down here real quick. Top this off to the max mark. That's pretty much it. Alright, so the coolant's going to look funny because the orange stuff, you know, is probably still in the system, but that'll be alright. So let's go ahead and get rid of this. We're going to cap it, and then what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to start it up and let it run for about a minute. At that point, that stuff's probably all going to get sucked down, and then after a minute we'll open this up, top it off, and then after that, then we're just going to let it ride and do its bleeding. So let's go ahead and get it started. Alright, so 12:25. Maybe we'll give it until 12:27. Let's go see if any of it's going down, and it went down a little bit. For the most part, it's still at max. I also want to hook the scan tool up too to keep an eye on the coolant temp. It's obviously still cold right now, but not in here. Let's put this window down. Alright, so it's 12:26. Like I said, I'll give it till 27 and we'll stop it, take a look. Still a lot of orange left in that system, but nothing you can do about it unless you drain the block and all that stuff. But like I said, it don't matter. This was just a simple drain and fill. Guys, I can't wait to take a shower. I can't wait to eat. The battery's going dead. Alright, 12:27. So we'll shut it off and let it sit for a moment. And I guess from there, just kind of monitor that level. Then from here we'll start it up, give it a couple revs, and then just let it run. That way that transmission fluid gets going also. I got the Altel hooked up, so it's displaying the RPMs, the engine coolant temperature, and the transmission fluid temperature, so I'll know what each of those are sitting at. So now I just wait. Still looks perfect. Pretty sure the thermostat opened. That temperature was up to 190. Yeah, it's at 188. Why is the air on? I didn't want the air on. It won't shut off. There we go. Yeah, the air was not supposed to be on. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it just kicked on by itself. Anyway, so well, yeah, it's at 190. Pretty sure that thermostat has opened at this point. We'll just let it run for a little longer I'll go ahead and shut it down, let it sit for a moment, and then we'll start it back up and just kind of let it go through again. But so far it's looking okay. I don't really want to put the transmission through all these gears while this car is missing a wheel, and it's on the jack. That might not end too good, so we're not going to do that quite yet. Alright, so I went ahead and shut the car down just now. It's just a hair below the max mark now, so I'm gonna let it sit here for a moment. And started putting my sights on this. Now obviously I can't install the new one like this with the wheel on the ground over there, but I did want to see if I'm even able to get this off, because like I said, I'm a little worried that this isn't going to go too well. So with these stab links, I also ordered the nuts to go with them, because for one, they are two different style. They're the same size, but they're different style. I have to look to see which one's which when these come off. And two, well, just in case something were to go wrong. But they are 18s. And I got the vice grips here. So let's see if there's any possibility of us successfully getting any of this off. That one I'm not looking forward to. Trying to get back there. Amazingly enough, I was able to actually loosen that. And what I did was, well, my trusty black pipe wouldn't fit in there. So I just took the hammer and just, you know, tapped on the handle a little bit, and it broke it loose. So gonna need both hands at this point to get it out the rest of the way. One of these days I will have power tools here at the house, and that will probably make this a little bit easier. But yeah, all I did was spray the WD-40 on it, and not too bad. I hope the new ones will go on okay. Almost. This is also loosening some bracket, which I was not aware of. Wow, okay, so that one there, this is, looks like the elongated one. So that one goes on the top. The flatter one, or shorter one I should say, goes on the bottom when we get to that point. So. Alright. So here's the broken stab link. It is out. I'm not looking forward to doing that piece. Oy. Alright, and I was able to do the inside one kind of the same way, using a box wrench and the hammer. This is probably the only way this one's going to come out, but I'm actually surprised that I got the pliers to lock on there. So I'll probably try to get the ratchet through there. The sun's been out for a while, so I'm starting to lose my cool. But we're getting somewhere. So I don't have a socket that's going to fit the drain plug, or that check plug, unfortunately. So I'm just going to ride with the fact that, you know, when we drained it out, we got 4 quarts out of it. We put 4 quarts back into it. Even the service manual kind of said between 4 and 5 quarts is usually where it's at. So it'll probably be all right. I was hoping to do it the right way, but I didn't realize my large hex heads sockets are at work. I don't have any here at the house. Now, if that was a Torx bit, that would have been a different story, because I do have Torx bits here. But 4 quarts out, 4 quarts in, it'll probably be okay. Alright, and the other end of that thing is out. So like I said, the top nut here, the bottom one you can see how it's shorter. Cool. How's the coolant look? It dropped. Alright guys, so I took a break. Went and got some food. The sun's out in full force now. So luckily, I think we're almost done. So, here's our stab links. Here's our new hardware. I got the other side off the ground also. So we should be able to kind of get this on. And I didn't try getting the other one off yet. So yeah, here we go. And they're both the same part numbers. And then the nuts, so this one's the elongated one, so that's the part number for the elongated one, which was the top nut. And the short one is kind of this. There we go. Alright, so we got the top part snug down. I'm working on the bottom now. So, of course, you know, the new ones will spin. They have like these washers in those nuts too, so they're almost kind of like lock washers in a way. But yeah, so once they get to that point, they spin the ball inside the thing. So I found a Torx bit that'll fit in there, because I don't have the right size hex head here at the house, but I got a Torx bit in here. So the front wasn't too bad. This one's kind of a pain because you just got to kind of keep doing this, and the ratchet at least is up against the body, so it's keeping the ball from spinning. But it's going. It's going. Of course, there are torque specs for this thing too, but I don't think we'll be able to utilize them because, well, for one, what torque wrench is going to fit back here? And two, it's probably just going to spin. So when we get to the point of tightening, we're just going to obviously hold the ratchet to keep the ball from spinning inside, and we'll just kind of jam on the outside nuts here as tight as we can. Shouldn't be a problem. Alrighty, side one is done. Nice and tight. Let's go do the other one. Okay, the top of the other side is loose. All done. Tell you what, for such an easy job, I don't know, it's usually these inner ones, trying to work with these inner ones, and especially on this side where you have to kind of go this way to tighten and all that stuff. That's the crappy part. But it's done. They're both done. Let's put this car back together. Okay, so that all took a little longer than I thought. What time is it? 4:15. I've been on this thing since like 9:30. Alright, so now all I have to do is torque these wheels down. But as we can see, the coolant level did drop, so we're gonna go ahead and go ahead and fill that back up to max. So there's probably more air, and having the car, you know, kind of up in the front may have sent some more air upwards. Okay, there we go. Back at the max mark. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and just let it run. I mean, we're pretty much done at this point. All I got to do is drive it. Like I said, I got to torque these wheels. So, yeah. Oh, the Alto was on here the whole time. Oops. Alright, there we go. We don't really need this now, but yeah, it cooled off quite a bit sitting here. So yeah, this time, you know, we'll go ahead and let it run. We'll drive it. I do want the air on now because I need it. So I just want to see how the transmission feels, but like I said, we really shouldn't have any issues there because we just put in what we drained out. And I don't know, I think that's pretty much it. Alright guys, so we're in it now. We're going to take it out for a drive and see how everything feels and such. So we're going to do the gear thing first, so I want to make sure, you know, we go through reverse and neutral and drive. Then sport, then the manumatic, even though we can't do anything with it. Alright, back to drive. Neutral. In reverse. Review camera not available. Alright, and let's roll. We are moving, so that's a good sign. Alright, so far everything feels normal. We do have the tire noise, of course. Feels like it's handling a little bit better. It used to feel like every time you'd hit like a bump up front, you know, it would kind of do a bounce, you know, back and forth because it was unstable. But transmission shifting good. I don't hear any clunking from those stab links, which is good, so they must be tight enough. The engine coolant is at 190 at the moment. Transmission is at 147. I think we did okay. He's going to need an alignment, which is more apparent now, I think, with that new stab link on there. It was kind of hard to tell a little bit, but he does need tires, so when I do his tires for him at some point, whenever we're going to do the alignment as well. Engine coolant 192, transmission's at 161. I think we're good. Nothing too crazy, and I mean it's what, 86 out here right now. Alright, so I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna shower finally, and then the car will sit. So before I take it back to him, I will double check the coolant level, make sure it is still max. Transmission feels good, feels normal, so I don't think we have to worry about that. And like I said, the car is handling a little bit better. It'll feel really good once it has tires in alignment. Alright guys, so this vlog's over. Very productive day with the 2016 Ford Fusion. So yeah, spark plugs, transmission fluid, engine coolant, 2 new front stab links. Needs tires in alignment. That of which I won't be able to document. That'll have to be at the shop. So yeah, it's running good. Transmission shifts fine. I think all the air is out of the system. I just checked and it's still at the max mark, so we're good in that department. And no noises or anything weird with the stab links, so we're good. This vlog is over. I am sunburnt. The sun got me again. Alright guys, thumbs up, comment, and subscribe if you did enjoy this. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys all in the next one. Until then, take care.